Welcome to Technically You. Today we're diving into holograms. 3D images floating in midair. Nope, goofy glasses needed. It's like sci-fi.
It really does sound like it. But hologram technology is a lot closer to reality than you think. We're already seeing some really mind-blowing applications in medicine, education, and entertainment.
Okay, so before we even get into it, how does this all works? Can we start with a basic definition? So what even is a hologram and how is that different from just watching a 3D movie?
Great question. A hologram is basically a three-dimensional image that's created by using lasers to record and then reconstruct the light waves that are scattered by an object. It's almost like capturing the essence of something in light, allowing you to view it from any angle as if it were actually there in front of you.
That's so cool.
And unlike 3D movies, which create that illusion of depth, using two slightly offset images, holograms are truly three-dimensional. So it's a much more realistic and immersive experience.
So it's not just about tricking our eyes into seeing depth. It's about actually recreating the object. Yeah, in light. So I've heard there are different types of holograms. Can you break those down for us?
Sure, the two main types are stereoscopic and realistic. Stereoscopic holograms are kind of like advanced 3D photographs. Think of, those lenticular cards you might have had as a kid where the image changes depending on the angle. That's like a very basic form of stereoscopic imaging. They're static, meaning they don't move or change. Realistic holograms, on the other hand, are dynamic and interactive, and they can move, change, and even respond to your actions. It's almost like a virtual reality environment you can step into.
Oh, wow. So stereoscopic hologram is like a snapshot in time, and then a realistic hologram that's like a fully interactive simulation. Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's get to the part I'm really curious about. How does this even work? Is it as simple as shining a laser on something?
It's a little more complicated than that, but I'll try to explain it in a way that's easy to understand. Imagine dropping two pebbles into a still pond. The ripples that are created by each pebble will spread out and eventually intersect, creating a unique interference pattern during an interview, like when two waves meet and form something entirely new.
Okay, yeah, I can picture that. Yeah, but how does that relate to holograms?
Well, a hologram works by creating a similar interference pattern, but with light waves instead of water waves. So a laser beam is split into two beams. One illuminates the object that you want to record, and another, called the reference beam, that acts like that second pebble in our, pond analogy. These two beams interfere with each other, creating a complex pattern that's captured on a special recording medium. And this interference pattern essentially encodes the 3D information of the object. When you shine the right kind of light on this recording, it reconstructs the original light waves that were scattered by the object, making it appear as a three-dimensional image.
Wow. Give me a second to decipher that. So the hologram is like a frozen record of the light waves that bounced off the original object.
Yeah.
And when you shine a light on it, it's like hitting play on that recording, bringing it back to life in 3D.
That's a great way to put it.
It's such a fascinating blend of physics and engineering that allows us to capture and recreate light.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Speaking of revolutionary, let's talk about how holograms are already changing the game in healthcare. I read that surgeons are actually using them now to visualize organs in 3D before operating.
Yeah, that's right. One of the most exciting applications of holograms is in surgery. Imagine being a surgeon right about to perform a complex procedure. Instead of relying on 2D scans and mental visualizations, you can now create a holographic model of the patient's organs from their scans, allowing you to see the organ in 3D from all angles as if it were right there in front of you.
That is amazing. So instead of looking at a flat image, they can actually explore the organ in 3D space. That's got to be so helpful for planning and practicing complex surgeries.
Absolutely. It allows surgeons to get a much more detailed and intuitive understanding of the patient's anatomy, which can lead to more precise and successful procedures. And it's not just large organs either. They can even visualize microscopic structures using holographic microscopy.
Wait, really? So they can use holograms to see things that are too small for the naked eye?
That's exactly right. Digital holographic microscopy allows scientists and doctors to observe cellular and subcellular structures in incredible detail, giving them unprecedented insights into the workings of cells and tissues. This has huge implications for disease research, drug development, and personalized medicine.
So it's amazing that we can use light to explore the human body at both a macroscopic and microscopic level. I mean, it seems like holograms really are blurring the lines between science fiction and reality.
They really are. And this is really just the beginning. As hologram technology continues to evolve, I think the potential applications in healthcare are virtually limitless.
This has been an incredible conversation so far. But before we get too carried away with the future, let's take a step back and consider some of the challenges facing hologram technology today. From what I've read, creating holograms can be quite complex and expensive, right?
Yeah, that's true. One of the biggest challenges is the fragility of holograms. They can be sensitive to environmental factors like temperature and humidity, requiring specific conditions to display properly.
So it's not exactly something you could just print out
Yeah,
and stick it on your fridge?
not quite yet, no. Although there are simple hologram kits available for, those who want to experiment at home. But professional grade holograms require specialized equipment and materials, making them relatively expensive to produce. Additionally, the process of designing and creating high-quality holograms requires significant technical expertise.
So while the potential is huge, there are still like some hurdles to overcome before holograms become truly mainstream. But I'm sure those challenges are being tackled right now. What are some of the latest innovations that are making holograms more robust, affordable, and accessible?
One really exciting area is the development of new materials and techniques for recording and displaying holograms. For example, researchers are experimenting with new types of holographic film that are more durable and less sensitive to environmental conditions. We're also seeing advancements in projection techniques, making it possible to create brighter, sharper, and more realistic holograms.
Potentially making them more suitable for everyday use.
Exactly. And there's a lot of research focused on making holograms more interactive and responsive. For example, some companies are developing holographic displays that can track your eye movements and adjust the image accordingly, creating a truly personalized viewing experience.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Imagine a display that knows where you're looking and adjusts the image to give you the best possible view from any angle. That would be mind-blowing. But before we get too deep into the future, I think it's important to acknowledge that this technology isn't without its downsides, right? We've talked about the cost and complexity, but are there other concerns that we should be aware of?
There are a few. One potential concern is, the potential for misuse. As holograms become more realistic, there's a risk they could be used to create convincing forgeries or spread misinformation. For example, imagine someone creating a holographic deepfake video that's indistinguishable from the real thing.
That is a scary thought. I mean, it seems like every new technology brings with it the potential for like both good and bad.
Yeah, it's true. And as with any powerful technology, it's important to proceed with caution. Considering both the potential benefits and the potential risks, we need to ensure that holograms are developed and used responsibly with appropriate safeguards in place to prevent misuse.
Well said. Seems like we have a lot to think about as we continue exploring this amazing technology.
Definitely. I think so too.
Okay, well, we were talking about some of the challenges, some of the potential downsides of this technology, but now I kind of want to jump into some of the really fun stuff, the mind blowing possibilities that holograms offer.
Yeah, the potential applications are truly vast, spanning across tons of industries, pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible. I mean, we've already seen how holograms are like transforming healthcare, but let's shift gears a little bit and talk about entertainment.
Oh, yeah. I'm really eager to hear more about this. I mean, who could forget that Tupac hologram performance at Coachella? That was like a watershed moment. It showed the world just a glimpse of what holograms could do for entertainment. But I'm curious, do you think we'll ever reach a point where holographic concerts could truly rival a live performance? Or will there always be something special about seeing your favorite artist in the flesh?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is somewhere in between. While holographic concerts can create these incredibly realistic and immersive experiences, they can't, fully replicate the energy and spontaneity of a live performance. There's a certain magic that happens when an artist feeds off the energy of a live audience. And that's something that's really difficult to recreate with technology. It's
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like the difference between watching a movie and seeing a live play on stage. They both have their own unique appeal. But I have to admit, the idea of attending a holographic concert from the comfort of my own home is pretty tempting. Imagine being able to see your favorite band perform live, no matter where they are in the world, without having to deal with crowds or travel or expensive tickets.
exactly. Holographic concerts have the potential to democratize access to live music, making it possible for fans all over the world to experience their favorite artists in a way that was never before possible. And let's not forget about the creative possibilities with holograms. Artists can create truly mind-bending visual spectacles that defy the laws of physics and push the boundaries of imagination.
Yeah, it's like opening up a whole new dimension for artistic expression. But holographic entertainment isn't just limited to music, is it? What about movies? Could we see holographic films becoming a reality?
Absolutely. I mean, imagine watching a movie where the characters aren't confined to a flat screen, but are projected into your living room, interacting with your surroundings, blurring the lines between fiction and reality.
That sounds like something straight out of like a sci-fi novel. But wouldn't that require some like seriously advanced technology? I mean, our current TVs and projectors are already pretty sophisticated. How much further would we need to go to make holographic movies a reality?
Yeah, you're right. It would require a significant leap forward in holographic projection and display technology. We'd need displays that can project like high resolution 3D images with a wide field of view, as well as sophisticated software that can track the viewer's position and adjust the image accordingly.
So it's not just about creating the hologram itself, but also creating a whole new way of displaying and interacting with it. That's pretty tall order. But it sounds like companies are already working on this. Are there any specific companies or research groups that are kind of leading the charge in holographic entertainment?
Absolutely. Companies like Samsung, Sony, and LG are all investing heavily in holographic display technology. We're seeing some really exciting breakthroughs. There are also a number of startups and research labs around the world working on innovative holographic projection systems. It's a rapidly evolving field, and it's really just a matter of time before we start seeing these technologies making their way into consumer products.
That's really encouraging. I can't wait to see what the future holds for holographic entertainment. But let's not get too carried away with the glitz and glamour of movies and concerts. I'm also really curious about like the more practical applications of holograms. You mentioned earlier that they're being used in education. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. One of the most promising applications of holograms in education is their ability to create immersive learning experiences. Imagine instead of just reading about the human body in a textbook, students can now interact with the holographic model, exploring its organs, and systems in 3D space.
That's a fantastic idea. It would definitely make learning anatomy a lot more engaging. Are there any specific examples of this technology being used in classrooms today?
Absolutely. Several universities and medical schools around the world are already incorporating holographic technology into their curriculum. For example, Case Western Reserve University has developed a holographic anatomy atlas that allows students to dissect and explore virtual human bodies without ever having to touch, a real cadaver.
Wow, that's incredible. It sounds like holograms could revolutionize the way we learn and teach, making complex subjects more accessible and engaging for students of all ages.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not just limited to anatomy either. Imagine using holograms to bring historical events to life, allowing students to walk through ancient ruins or experience pivotal moments in history firsthand.
It would be like having a virtual time machine in the classroom. Students could literally step back in time and witness history unfolding before their eyes. That would be like an unforgettable learning experience. But I'm also curious about the potential applications of holograms outside of the classroom. Are there any like unexpected or surprising ways that holograms are being used in the real world today?
Yeah, there are a few. One interesting application is in archaeology. Holograms are being used to create 3D reconstructions of ancient artifacts and historical sites, allowing researchers to study and preserve these treasures in a non-invasive way.
That's a brilliant use of technology.
Right?
So instead of physically handling delicate artifacts, they can create holographic copies that can be studied, manipulated, and shared with the world without risking damage to the originals. That's a huge win for preserving our cultural heritage.
Are there any other examples of holograms being used in unexpected ways?
Another interesting area is holographic data visualization. Scientists and researchers are using holograms to visualize complex data sets in 3D, allowing them to see patterns and relationships that might not be apparent in traditional 2D representations.
So instead of just looking at charts and graphs, they can actually step inside the data and explore it from all angles. That's got to be incredibly helpful for understanding complex systems and making new discoveries.
Exactly. And we're really just scratching the surface of the potential applications of holograms in research and data analysis. As the technology continues to evolve, I think we'll see even more creative and innovative uses emerge. Yeah, it seems like holograms have the potential to impact virtually every aspect of our lives, from how we learn and work to how we entertain ourselves and interact with the world around us. It's an incredibly exciting time to be alive.
I couldn't agree more. But as with any powerful technology, it's important to proceed with caution, considering both the potential benefits and the potential risks. We need to ensure that holograms are developed and used responsibly with a focus on ethics, sustainability, and accessibility.
Well said. We've been exploring the world of holograms from their mind-blowing potential to their real-world applications. It's clear that this technology is poised to revolutionize like everything from entertainment and education to healthcare and research. But as with any powerful tool, there are also like potential downsides and challenges to consider.
Absolutely. We need to approach this technology with balanced perspective, acknowledging both its incredible promise and the potential risks.
Right before the break, we were discussing some of the more surprising and innovative uses of holograms, like preserving ancient artifacts and visualizing complex data sets. But now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the potential downsides we touched on earlier. Specifically, the possibility of misuse.
It's a valid concern. As holograms become more realistic and accessible, it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between what's real and what's fabricated.
Yeah, and earlier you mentioned the possibility of holographic deepfakes, which is a pretty unsettling thought. Could you elaborate on that a bit more? Like, what are the potential implications of being able to create such convincing forgeries?
Well, just imagine a world where you can no longer trust what you see with your own eyes. A world where anyone with the right technology can create a holographic video that's indistinguishable from reality, making it appear as if someone said or did something they never actually did.
That's a scary thought. It could have a huge impact on everything from journalism and politics to personal relationships and legal proceedings.
Exactly. It could erode trust in institutions, sow discord among communities, and even be used to manipulate individuals or sway public opinion.
So, how do we address this? Is it simply a matter of stricter regulations and laws?
Regulations and laws definitely have a role to play, but they're only part of the solution. Too much regulatory oversight could slow down advances in technology. So, we need to develop technological countermeasures, such as sophisticated authentication and verification tools that can help us distinguish real holograms from fake ones.
It sounds like we need a multifaceted approach involving both technological and societal solutions. But even if we can overcome the challenge of deepfakes, there's still the issue of privacy to consider. We talked earlier about the potential for holographic surveillance, but are there other privacy concerns related to this technology?
Yeah, absolutely. As holograms become more commonplace, we need to think carefully about who has access to this technology and how it's used. Imagine a scenario where someone could capture a holographic image of you without your consent and use it for malicious purposes like identity theft or harassment.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi thriller.
It does, doesn't it? But it's a scenario we need to take seriously. We need to establish clear guidelines for the ethical use of holographic technology, including robust privacy protections that prevent the unauthorized capture and use of personal holographic data.
It sounds like navigating the ethical implications of holograms is going to be just as challenging as developing the technology itself. But it's a conversation we need to have, and we want to ensure that this technology is used for good and not for harm.
I completely agree. We need to be proactive, not reactive, when it comes to addressing the ethical and societal implications of holograms.
Okay, so as we wrap up today's podcast, I want to come back to a question we posed earlier. What does the future hold for holograms?
The possibilities are truly vast. I believe we're on the cusp of a holographic revolution that will transform the way we live, work, and interact with the world around us. We'll see holograms used in ways we can't even imagine today, from creating, personalized educational experiences to revolutionizing communication and entertainment.
It's an exciting time to be alive, but it's also a time for careful consideration and responsible innovation. We need to ensure that this technology is developed and used in a way that benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
Well said. The future of holograms is in our hands. It's up to us to shape that future in a way that's both innovative and ethical, ensuring that this incredible technology is used to create a brighter, more equitable, and more inspiring world for all.
That's a great way to end this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as we did. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your eyes on the horizon.